graphics have come out which shows that a black woman mothers all people on the planet at this time. Woman in fact is physiologically more complex than man. Hence, we cannot come out of Adam. Only Adam can come out of Eve. Africans created the myth of Isis and Osiris. Isis and Osiris, unlike Adam and Eve, give you a vision of the completeness of the human through the equality of the male and the female. We understood that the role of one was the different, was equal in importance. And there were times when the role of woman and the role of a man was one and the same. Many of the goddesses of the Europeans were black. The goddess of chastity was a black woman Artemis. They could have chosen their own women, they chose some of their own women, but the most important goddesses were black. As the life giver, we recognize that role as being over and above something that man could do. And that is the woman. Of the southern and eastern Africa, that is the black woman, total, final, complete, Homo sapiens sapiens that produces our people. That is the fundamental mother of mankind.
Every time I hear that, oh, let me go stop.
Mothers all people on the planet at this time.
That it was getting ready to play again. But every time I listen to that video or watch that video, I'm just like, if only people understood or knew or valued who the black woman is. And so anyway, peace and power, family, and welcome to another talk with the sisterhood. We call it the Tea Talk with the sisters, but we're thinking about changing it to, the sisterhood think tank. But nonetheless, my name is Dr. Oyama. I am co-founder and president of Ed Anime Productions. And Ed Anime Productions is a Black owned and operated Baltimore-based company that creates educational media for children, in particularly children of color. Each Wednesday, we meet from 1 to 2, and I come with a panel of powerful sisters. Sisters, can you please introduce yourselves to the listening audience?
Peace and power, fam. Good to see y'all again. This is your sister, Raziki Zafira. I am co-owner of Nature's Sound International, and I am also your favorite sacred sexpert. Welcome to the show.
Hey, peace and love, everybody. Peace, Dr. Maya, sister Raziki. I am Monica Lamb. Everybody calls me Mo, and I run a nonprofit organization called Tri-City Visionaries, where we teach high school students and young adults on how to transition from high school to college, military, or entrepreneurship, as well as those tech opportunities, and help with business filings and government certifications and everything else out there. So peace and love to everybody who's watching now and those who will be watching in the archive.
Excellent. So today, ladies, we got an excellent show. I love this topic right here that you proposed, Sister Raziki. When you were talking, when we were inboxing each other, you were talking about community justice and how we can, I guess, conduct it, especially, in the climate that we're currently in with all of the police, corruption. But before we get started, let's lift up, let's acknowledge and pay homage to ancestors. And because this show is about police corruption and things of that nature, I thought that I have a list of victims of police murders, and I have their names, probably like 20 names. I want to call out the names, and when I call out the names, could you just respond with Ashe, sisters?
Yes.
Philando Castile.
Ashe.
Terrence Crutcher.
Ashe.
Sandra Bland.
Ashe.
Eric Garner.
Ashe.
Mike Brown.
Ashe.
Wakia Boyd.
Ashe.
Sean Bell.
Ashe.
Tamir Rice.
Ashe.
Freddie Gray.
Ashe.
Dan Roy Henry.
Ashe.
Oscar Grant.
Ashe.
Kendrick McDade,
Ashe.
Ayanna Jones,
Ashe.
Jamali Graham,
Ashe.
Amadou Diallo,
Ashe.
Trayvon Martin,
Ashe.
John Crawford,
Ashe.
Jonathan Farrell,
Ashe.
Timothy Stansberry,
Ashe.
Alton Sterling,
Ashe.
Keith Childress,
Ashe.
Betty Jones,
Ashe.
Kevin Matthews,
Ashe.
Ashe.
Clint Allen,
Ashe.
Leroy Browning,
Ashe.
Roy Nelson,
Ashe.
Miguel Espanol,
Ashe.
Nathaniel Pinkett,
Ashe.
Cornelius Brown,
Ashe.
Chandra Weaver,
Ashe.
Jamal Clark,
Ashe.
Corinne Gaines,
Ashe.
Richard Perkins,
Ashe.
Stephen Tucson,
Ashe.
Michael Lee Marshall,
Ashe.
Alonzo Smith,
Ashe.
Evan Side,
Ashe.
Anthony Ashford,
Ashe.
Lamontez Jones,
Ashe.
Rashawn Cole,
Ashe.
and Dante Martin.
Ashe.
Okay, so Ashe. Oh, so we lifted them up, and I just, I wanted to focus on, people who were victims of, victims of police murder, in lieu of, the traditional, ancestors and stuff like that. But before we get started with today's show, let's talk about some of these events that we have coming up. I know Sister Monica, you have, some events coming up, with what you're doing as far as economics is concerned, and we have the Sinetta reunion conference coming up. Sister Riziki, I know you have some things, I believe, coming up. I have 2 things coming up. So go ahead. I want to start with you, Sister Monica.
Okay. Let's see. I got them all in the. Let me share the screen. I put them all back to back so that we can just knock them all out one by one. Let me know if you can see. Right. So we can see the screen. So this is the House of Conscious Unity reunion celebration, and it's going to be August the 13th. I believe that is a Sunday. Doors open at 2 p.m. and it's going to be held at the Alhambra Ballroom in Harlem, New York. You can get your tickets at Eventbrite. They're $25, and they also will have a live stream. I think today or yesterday may have been, but I think it's today is to be the last day for the early bird ticket of $10. So those tickets may go up. So get out and get your tickets for that event. We are, as you can see, gonna have the whole crew in the building, but in particularly, you're gonna have Dr. Mayat in the building.
I say.
I will be there. I think Sister Ziki, you're gonna try to get down there. We also is Sister Lima coming?
I'm not sure. I gotta holler at the sister. I'm not sure if she's coming through, but I hope that she does.
Okay.
She definitely comes through. I hope that a lot of sisters, to be honest with you, Sister Monique, I hope that a lot of sisters support this event and come through. The sisterhood we need to make our presence known. A lot of times when I go out to these conscious events, be it Sinetta or Reality Speaks here in Baltimore or PLM in Baltimore, a lot of these events, at a lot of these events, you see a lot of brothers who are there. And so, I know the sisters, we might be busy, we might be home with the kids. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that it's a particular reason why we're not there, but I am saying that the sisterhood we need to make our presence known at these events. So, I'm looking at the flyer. I see a lot of brothers, but we need to see more sisters, involved in things like this. So go ahead, Sister Monica.
Yes. And so we'll have Sister Sapphire. She's going to be coming up from Dallas, Texas, and Queen of Forest. She's already in the NY area. It's going to be 4 of us. Myself, Chanisa Brown. She's normally in our chats. Cheryl Stevenson, she's Hinton. She's married now. She's going to be there. Sherry Sweets, who helped with VA claims. She's going to be there with me. And possibly Lakeisha Law. She may fly up from Louisiana. So we're coming in deep or whatnot, support the sisterhood. And so, yes, that's Sunday, August the 13th, 2017. See you guys in Harlem, New York. The tickets are $25. Be there. Also, I just became vice president of the National Association of Black Accountants here in the Columbia chapter. We have our fall day with NABA coming up. It's going to be held at Allen University, which is at HBCU, at Maddie Scott Conference Center on 2300 Taylor Street in Columbia, South Carolina. The most unique thing about this organization, Dr. Maya and Sister Riziki, is that NABA was started by, I think it's about 11 professional accountants. And what happened was they were singling them out for, they were not allowing them to get into the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. And so these brothers and sisters form what we call the National Association of Black Accountants to give our CPAs and professional auditors and accountants and forensics accountants and PhD accountants the opportunity to have a sit at the table. And so the organization meets, we're in Columbia preparing the college students to go to Atlanta, which has the national conference. And at that conference, those students will have the opportunity to interview with CEOs and get hired on the spot. So coming out of college, they won't have to wonder whether or not they can get a job, or if the students are coming out of high school, then they have the opportunity to get scholarships to attend college to major in accounting or finance or any related field. So this particular day we're having, Fall Day with NABA, is for 20 to 30 students. It's going to be free. Lunch will be provided to get prepared for the conference, which is the following weekend, because we want them to go in understanding how to interview, how to dress, how to network, what their resumes should be look like. So when they get there, it won't have to be a failed mission, that they can get there and land these jobs. I will be presenting that day. Chanisa Garfield will be presenting that day. Lester Young, all of us will be presenting to the kids and getting them ready for that event. The event is business attire. So I will make sure, and NABA is all over the US, not just here in Columbia. So if you know that any of the teens or young adults who are majoring in accounting or finance or related field, encourage them to get in that chapter. We give out about $11 million worth of scholarships per year, and the networking for job is phenomenal, Dr. Maya. It's awesome.
I'm gonna try to make sure, sis, that I'm in the building for this event. I'm looking at it right now, and I know that you inboxed this flyer to me a few days ago. But I'm just, Sister Monique, I'm extremely proud of what you are doing in the community. I'm extremely, on it week after week to even just connect with you on the show. Sis, you doing it, and I need to be there. So yeah, hold me to that. I'm gonna try to get down there. You said September the 16th on a Saturday.
Well, if not this one, Dr. Maya, we have the high school. We're planning for the high school day. I think it's in October, and it's going to be held at Scamper, which is a nonprofit art headquarters for the high school students as well. So we got two coming up before the end of the year. Great Connect or whatnot that you could be a part of. So if you do decide to come, and I can help with that, we can work it out.
Let's do it.
Because we have the presentations, we do need presenters, we do need people to connect with the students. So I'll send you the information and let me know which one you want to be a part of, and we'll make sure you're taken care of.
Hey,
because we need our professionals on the ground, and these kids need to know that we got their back, and we got the scholarship money. But if we don't have nobody to give it to, it's pointless.
Exactly. I read I don't want to say it was a startling article, but I read an article, a few months ago. It had said that, I don't know if it was billions or millions of scholarship money goes unclaimed each year.
Yes.
Is it in the billions, sis, or is it in the millions?
It's in the billions, because I can tell you just from the veteran one that I promote all the time, we have, oh my God, we get one person across the US applying because they don't want to do community service. All they can do is 100 hours with any veteran hospital or VA, 20,000. We give out 20,000 every year, 20,000, 15, 10, 75, and 5. And it is so difficult to get the kids just to take a little bit of time in the summer and spend with the vets. And we write them up for that. It's so easy till it's crazy. But that's a whole nother topic. I'll send you the list of scholarships I have on that, just in case you know anybody in the area for those. And then we have, speaking of scholarships, every Thursday, this Thursday coming up from 2 to 4, we go live on the Dagger Squad channel as well as Facebook, and we have people in-house, in classroom, and we do teen and young adult workshops. And what we're covering is the ACT, SAT, ASVAB, how to study for those pre-tests, where to go, where to get the apps from, so that you can get ready for college and get good testing scores when you do apply, as well as go for the scholarships. What associations? I'm pushing hard, of course, the National Association of Black Accountants. I also push hard the National Association for Black Engineers, because I know people in that organization, they do extremely well with helping the children from elementary on up to college, as well as the National Black Nurses Association, because my cousin used to be president over that one in Louisiana. And so I know that those people are giving out lots of scholarship, but you got to come in and do community service, and you got to get amongst the professionals so they can guide your career. We also, the new thing I picked up, because I noticed with hiring people lately, is that they unfamiliar how to complete the W-4, the W-2, the I-9. They don't have ID cards. The Social Security cards are nowhere to be found. A W-9, a 1099, they're not sure what's the difference between getting a 1099 at the end of the year or a W-2, as well as a direct deposit form. So we're covering that as well, making sure kids understand how to get paid and what does it mean to have these documents completed. We do that every Thursday from 2 to 4, and it is live. And I'm missing one flyer for, let me see if I get it real quick. On September the 23rd, I know y'all probably like, good Lord, girl, what you not doing?
Oh, share. No, this is excellent. You got to share, because look, there was an event in Baltimore last weekend. It was called Unify Baltimore, and there were several organizations present there. You had the Nation of Islam, you had like a lot of grassroots organization, you had, my organization. So we were all there. And what we noticed is that there's a disconnect between the people and resources. So this is really good. Like, let the people know what's available to them and how they can, and how they can get it. And so definitely, sis, keep going. Let us know what's coming on, what's going on.
High five. Okay, so on September the 23rd, we have the building blocks to starting your nonprofit organization. And this event is hosted by Not Your Kitchen. So they're bringing me down, and I'm bringing Garfield and Cheryl with me. We're going to be talking about the power of a 501c3, how to search for funding opportunities, and best practices of charitable organizations founders. And we're going to have 2 sessions, 9:30 to 1:30 and 3:30 to 7 o'clock. And we're going to be doing that at the Courtyard in Raleigh-Durham Airport, Briar Creek. And so if you want to participate in that event, you got to register on Eventbrite. So we're going down there to help those nonprofit organizations in that area get online, find funding, and everything of that nature. And then last but not least, in Atlanta, Georgia, we have our Loving the Skin I'm In annual event. And it's going to be called Family Field Day. And it's going to be on August the 26th at 12 p.m. And you can register. It's free. It's going to be at the Piedmont Park, 400 Park Drive, Northeast in Atlanta, Georgia. And it's going to be going on at 12 o'clock, and they're going to have fun games and all of that great stuff. And go ahead.
This question for this event right here, and I want you to keep it up. For this Family Day event, is there any way, and it's going to be, you said, at Piedmont Park, is there any way that we can do a showing of Meltrek there? Like, is there any way that we can work that in? Yeah, where we could do a showing. Yeah, where we could do a showing there. I mean, all we need is a laptop projector and a screen, or at least like a little screen, some speakers, and we could just sit down and show them, show them Meltrek. I think that would be, phenomenal.
I'm gonna reach out to Shonda. I'm gonna connect y'all on Facebook, and I'll let her know. Definitely, that would be outstanding. a huge opportunity, and I felt really bad because we had our big back to school bash, and I was like, oh my goodness, why didn't I invite Dr. Mayat? Because we have, but it's okay. I'm gonna catch it. We do it twice a year. We do 2 big events twice a year here, and we have, oh my God, over 200-300 kids out there. I was just so busy with the summer camps, it just kind of slipped my mind, but we definitely gonna catch that. But I'll reach out to Shonda for this August 26th event, so we definitely can get that online.
Fantastic, fantastic.
Well,
Mr. Raziki, what do you have going on? Let
I don't even want to come up after Mo. I don't want to come up after Mo. She do not.
It's not sharing.
No, well, as for me, and I'll post the links in the chat, but just September 2nd is a eventful day. So I have part 2 of our sexual healing series going on. Session 1 was so dope. It was so amazing. The brothers came out, they released, they shared, you know what I mean? And we had the live demos going on. It was real interactive. It was really, really great. And so we're having part 2 September 2nd on Saturday. And then also my class for session 2 starts September 2nd as well for my actual Tantra class. My first course, 5 sisters graduated, one from Aiken, South Carolina. So big shout out to Shannon Suber. I got 2 here in Atlanta, Keziah Jones and Sherilyn Wheeler, who also does Yoni Steam. So big shout out to them. I got one in Jersey, Maisha Hudson. Shout out to her. And then my 5th one, oh my goodness. Latifah Johnson, Latifah Jamila from Charlotte, North Carolina. So congrats to all those ladies. If y'all are looking for services, hit them up on their Facebook. Again, a lot of healing. It was just a beautiful experience. I'm going to share the video too. There was like an African dance ceremony that went on during the graduation. And, you know, they did their table work, a lot of healing. It was just a wonderful thing. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there because I had my dad's funeral. Rest in peace, Dad. Rest in power. So, yeah. But it's going down. So I'm excited. And I'm still in talks with the folks in Ghana. So
excellent.
I'm excited about that.
Yes. Goodness. So like you said, it's kind of hard to come behind Sister Mo, man. I mean,
you know, like
showed about 20 events.
I'm gonna post my joint in the comments, you know. I ain't even gonna post up my little flyers, you know.
So let me show the sister. Well, let me show the viewers what we have going on in Baltimore. On August the 4th through the 6th, there's a sister by the name of Erica, I believe. She organized something called Baltimore Ceasefire. So they're asking, they said nobody kill anybody for 72 hours. So for 72 hours, you're going to have different organizations walking the streets. We'll be over in East Baltimore, West Baltimore, North Baltimore, and South Baltimore for 72 hours. I mean, 72 hours. I mean, you know, so, you know, you're going to have different people. Somebody might come on for an hour. Somebody might come on for another hour. But we're going to organizations, churches, mosques, all of us are going to occupy the streets for 72 hours from August the 4th through August the 6th. We're calling Baltimore Ceasefire. And I want to get this across to the folks who are listening. It's not just about not killing. We're asking people to, when we say ceasefire, it's not just about bullets. It's not just about killing. We're saying ceasefire, cease the ignorance, cease the killing, cease the police brutality, cease the ignorance. So, I mean, you know, the brothers and sisters that are organizing this can explain it better than I can. But I want to, you know, let you guys know we got this coming up in Baltimore Ceasefire, 72 hours. Our streets will be occupied with different organizations, churches, mosques, you name it, will be out there occupying, you know, these neighborhoods for 72 hours. Another event, oops, hold on, my bad. Okay, hold on, hold on. Got another event going on. Now, this is another event that we have going on at the Temple of New African Thought. This Sunday, August the 6th, from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's the second annual house, a call for healing. Dennis Assault Winkler Jr. He will be there to address white trauma oppression and Black trauma, collective healing as a remedy. And then we're going to have Dr. Malife Asante. I don't know if you guys are familiar with his book. I believe it's called Afrocentricity. Afrocentric or Afro Kennedy, something like that. But I know that he's coming to Baltimore. He is an author, scholar, educator, and he's the founder of Malife Asante Institute. He's going to be the keynote speaker at 2 p.m. and his topic will be revolutionary pedagogy. The victory is ours. So if you're in the Baltimore and in the DMV area, please come out to the Temple of New African Thought to support this event. I will be there from 12 to 6 to support this event. So this is what we have going on in Baltimore this weekend. But I want to play this quick video. Can you see my screen, ladies? Can you see my screen, ladies?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I didn't hear anybody. All right, so listen to the elder speak. And I have his book actually in here. I think it's called Afrocentric. But he's a well-known scholar. Dr. Naeem Akbar references a lot of his work. Dr. Malife Asante. So I'm telling you, I can't wait, to get my book signed and actually meet this elder when he comes to Baltimore. Let's listen to the elder speak for about 1 minute.
Okay, it's important. We have to heal the community. This is about healing. We're asking everyone to come out and to support us on August the 6th in Baltimore. We're going to be there from 12 to 6 p.m. I, Dr. Malife Asante, will be talking about revolutionary pedagogy. How do we save our Black children in this urban crisis? I'm going to be talking also about Pan-Africanism. Please come out. Support the Temple of New African Thought. The Temple of New African Thought is a leading group of young brothers and sisters who are committed to the struggle of African people for freedom. I am happy to support them, and I will be speaking at 2 p.m. We'll be in Baltimore, and we're asking you to look at the address or the flyer that you will see, and we will then be able to have a wonderful time. I'll see you August the 6th. Thank you.
So come on out, family. Sunday, August the 6th, August 7th from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Come on out, family. And that concludes, let me stop sharing. So that concludes my my event. Sister Cheryl, do you have anything coming up that you would like to share with the listening audience?
No, not really. I'm sure Mo hit on everything that I was going to be at all the events. I'm currently just putting in a bunch of contracts. So that if you want to call that an event, it's an event within itself.
Tell them what you do, sis.
I'm currently working on a few projects that's dealing with everything from what do you call it? Weed. Me and Mo have hemp. We call it hemp. I'm dealing with some people with that. They have land that they are trying to grow hemp on, and we're getting them grants and contracts. So I'm working on that. I'm working on a few other projects with people that have land that is trying to build nursing homes, basically build a community on their land. So I'm working with them as well, getting them grants and contracts. And of course, a host of other people that's doing grants and contracts as well. And I finally found me a little spot out here in the ATL that I will be doing my entrepreneurship training at. And once again, it'll be free if you're going through Workforce Solutions. So you'll be able to come out and get into those programs for free. The place that I am getting or have pretty much is out in the city of Decatur. So I will be out there. I'll give you guys the address at a later time. But that is pretty much what I'm working on right now.
Fantastic, sis. Fantastic. And you gotta get back to me, sis, on on the contracts that you and I discussed. I know you.
I do. I know. I got busy, so I'll make sure I get with you on those as well.
Okay, cool. So let's get into it, sisters. We're talking about, police corruption in the community and what should we do. I don't know, if any of you are aware of what's been going on in Baltimore, but I'm sure that what's going on in Baltimore is going on in every predominantly Black community that's being, of course, policed by people who don't look like us. Baltimore, that two videos or 3 videos have surfaced showing police officers plant drugs on young Black folks. So I want to show some video footage and I want to get into some other stuff. But let me show you what's going on with the police. This is what's going on. So aside from the Alton Sterling shootings and the Philando Castile shootings, we see all of that. We see that they're murdering us. But now evidence is surfacing, or video footage is surfacing, showing police officers actually plant evidence on Black people.
Questions about police tampering. A newly released body cam video appears to show a police officer planting evidence in the car. Authorities say not realizing perhaps that his body cam was rolling. Here's ABC's Steve Osensami. Did anybody check this compartment here yet? This newly discovered video was uncovered by someone in Baltimore's public defender's office, and it's so concerning tonight that prosecutors have dropped all charges against the driver who was arrested here. Take a look again. What critics say these officers forgot is that when they start recording on their body cameras, the system has already saved the previous 30 seconds of video. This is when you see one of the officers appear to put something in the car. Then they all step back, the audio starts, the recording officially begins, and they find drugs. Oh my God, really? That's the weed smell right there. Same thing appears to be happening here. That 30-second preview struck again in video from another drug bust that led to the suspension of a police officer last month. Prosecutors have dropped more than 30 cases connected to the officers in this case, and more than 120 cases are under review.
We are dismissing those cases, which rely exclusively on the credibility of these officers.
Baltimore police this evening are reminding their officers that they need to turn on their body cameras at the beginning of the call. Steve Osensami with us tonight.
All right, let me reload this video. This was actually the first video that surfaced showing the police planting evidence.
That's crazy.
Look at this, sis. Look at this. Shamir Collins. Look at this.
Mm. Mm.
There you go. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Really?
Look, y'all getting off on it.
Right. So, oh, right.
Oh yeah. Oh. Busting nut. That is terrible.
Right. Getting off on planting evidence on young Black people. Look at this. Look at this.
That's
ridiculous. So this is what's going on in Baltimore. And then there was one more video I just want to show you guys. One more video. This was the first video that grabbed the attention of many.
The body cam video shot in January shows a Baltimore police officer searching a garbage.
Wait a minute, I want to enlarge it if I can. All right. I don't know why it's not.
The body cam video shot in January shows a Baltimore police officer searching a garbage-strewn backyard. He finds a bag of drugs tucked into a soup can. But the video doesn't actually begin there. It starts 30 seconds earlier. Officer Richard Pinero in the same spot, planting the evidence, according to the public defender's office. Today, the police announced the officer has been suspended.
I know we have to immediately launch an investigation.
But wait a minute, sisters. Wait a minute. I just want to show. I just want to add something before I finish the video. You know how people say all cops aren't bad? But then I'm like, why aren't the good cops stepping in? Because clearly you saw that he planted the drugs in the presence of two other officers. So where are these good cops that everyone keeps talking about? Not all cops are bad. And I'm not going to say, because I don't like using absolutes, so I wouldn't dare say that all cops are bad. But I'm just waiting for these good cops to step up and begin, checking these bad cops. Let me.
More body cam footage from that day for context, as well as the discovery of a different bag of drugs on that same property. But even though police are investigating, the charges against the alleged dealer in this case were dropped last April. And the public defender says the same officer stayed on the job and testified in a separate case.
That officer still has what we think is 53 cases open.
The state's attorney's office says it immediately reported the incident to Internal Affairs. The Baltimore Police Department has one of the largest body cam programs in the country.
What we expect out of these cameras is improved public confidence.
The program began in 2016, following violent protests over Freddie Gray's death a year earlier. The 25-year-old died days after being arrested and transported in a police van. Today, the police commissioner facing new questions about trust.
Perception is reality. So if our community thinks there are police officers who are planting evidence during the course of their duty, that's certainly something that.
What the hell is he talking about, Sister Ezekiel?
I would look, because I was trying to think
this. He said, if the community thinks. No, we don't think. We know because we're looking at the footage. What do you mean if the perception is reality?
Metaphysical on somebody. Boy, stop.
Right.
Shut up.
Cameras that are supposed to improve confidence tonight appear to be shaking it. Stephanie Goss, NBC News.
I mean, so
an update of the story we've been following all week. An escaped Alabama inmate on the run.
All right, sis. And then this is the last two things that I want to show that the folks that are listening. It says the number of fatal shootings. Now, this is an article that was released by the Washington Post on July the 1st. The number of fatal shootings by police is nearly identical to last year. All right. It says police nationwide shot and killed 492 people in the first 6 months of this year, a number nearly identical to the count for the same period in each of the prior 2 years. Did you hear that? So in the beginning of this year, the first 6 months, police officers killed 492 people. Now, let me put that in context, Sister Riziki. How many people were killed? Well, let me ask this to Sister Mo. Sister Mo, how many people were killed during 9/11 when the 10 towers fell? How many people were murdered? And if you don't know the answer, just Google it for me. How many people were murdered during 9/11? During that whole the 10 towers when they fell, or when the planes ran into them, how many people were murdered? Because I want to drive home a point, because we called that a terrorist act, an act of terrorism, right? Okay, so I just want to prove a point. How many people were murdered when the during the 9/11 attacks? How many people were murdered?
Okay, so according to the CNN Fast Facts, it has 2,977 people were killed and more than 6,000 others in the South Towers and North Towers. I think that, yeah. So
now I know that they hit the Pentagon too. So does this number include the Pentagon and the Twin Towers, or just the Twin Towers?
The Twin Towers. Let me get the so we're looking for a total kill, right? Let's see. And
I mean, and the point that I'm trying to drive home, really, Sister Mo, is this. So, let's just round this number, 492. Let's just round this number to 500 people, right? So 500 people this year, 500 people last year, 500 people the year before that, right? But when something like this happens, like when 9/11 happens, or when an incident happens, it's like, oh, this is an act of terrorists. Each year, the police I think that this is a terrorist act. I don't know if that's, if I think that I'm warranted to say that they, to me, are a terrorist group. I mean, do you get what I'm saying? Each year, 500 people get murdered by the police year after year. And this is just the last 3 years that we're talking about, 2017, 2016, and 2015. This article is not even talking about 2014, 2013, 2012, 2011, and even, it doesn't even take into account the number of people that are murdered by police that we just don't know about. This is just what we know about. So this is, to me, an act of terrorism. This is terrorism. Anytime you have the police murdering citizens, planting drugs on citizens, robbing citizens. And wait a minute, let me show you this. Speaking of robbing, federal grand jury indicts Baltimore police officers on additional robbery charges. So they're killing us.
And robbing people?
They're planting evidence on us, and they're robbing people. Look at this right here. Look at this. Baltimore Sun, a federal racketeering case against officers in an elite unit of the Baltimore Police Department deepened Thursday with a new indictment alleging 3 of them robbed civilians of more than $280,000 over 5 years. It says 3 veteran officers from the Gun Trace Task Force also plotted to sell drugs they confiscated during arrests and forged reports to cover their tracks, federal prosecutors said. So they're murdering, they're robbing, they're selling drugs, they're even raping women. I can pull up articles of police officers getting, charged for rape.
Oh yeah, I saw a video. He raped like 13 of them, but he did get sentenced for them. But it was 13 sisters, and
that's the one in Louisiana, ain't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I was at least glad to see at least he getting jail time for it. But I was like, that's crazy. And even dealing with the community justice, why I brought it up in the first place, because I'm like, how do we even conduct it within ourselves? Exactly. Because even like, for instance, there was this article that, R. Kelly's coming down here, and I did like a video about it. And I'm like, well, now I even feel even more some sort of a way of if his song come on. Like there's a sense of guilt, like if I start jamming to it or something, and people are like down here like boycotting, his concerts, and I'm like, okay, that's a celebrity, but what about these people in our own community? It's either we want the police involved or we don't. It's kind of like how Muhammad Ali on his interview, and they was like, well, do you trust all white people? And he said, listen. If I'm in a room and there's a bunch of snakes coming for me, and some of these snakes are good, but some of them are bad, am I going to wait for the good snakes to come in and then shut the door, or just shut the door completely and don't let none of them in?
Exactly.
So it's, we got to make a decision. And if the thing is we don't want the police involved, then people got to step up. And we got to organize. Like,
sis, I just wanted to say this. there was a brother, Minister Carlos Muhammad of Muhammad Mosque Temple number 6 down in Baltimore. He said that earlier, I mean, on Saturday when we met, he went around the community and he interviewed people and he was like, look, what do you guys want to do? And they was like, we want the community, we want the police out of our communities. And so he said, well, are you ready to police the community? And he said that the brothers were like, yeah. And he was like, nah, wait a minute. He said, I'm not talking about policing the community and protecting, you know, criminal enterprise. He said, I'm talking about policing the community and making sure that these women and babies, you know, are protected. Are you ready to put in that work? You know, and this is not just you can take off. This is 24 hours a day of policing your community. So if you're not ready for that, you know, a lot of people say, I want to do away with the police, but what system do we have to replace them with? You get what I'm saying? What system? And like you said, Sister, you know, we need to organize. And in fact, you know, we did a show on this months ago. I don't know if you guys remember, we did a show called What is the Code? If Black people want to do away, if we want to do away with the police, right? We want to do away with the police. We want to do away with the biased justice system. Then we have to put systems in place. We have to replace these systems with viable systems. And one thing we need to do is first establish a code of conduct. We need to agree on a code of conduct. What are the do's and the don'ts in the community, right? And then so once we agree on this code of conduct, I mean, and there are many codes of conduct. Some people say I'm Afrocentric, so I stand on my eye. You have the Muslims who stand on the Quran. You got the Christians who stand on the 10 Commandments. I don't care what you stand on. I'm saying that we all need to come together and discuss a code of conduct that will be implemented and enforced in every Black community. All right. And then once we come up with this code of conduct, then we need to develop a system to enforce the conduct, meaning who polices, who's going to be the police officers, who polices, you know, who's going to police this, who's going to enforce this. And in my opinion, I feel like the people who enforce this code of conduct should be the people of the highest character. But even with people of highest character, we need some type of system to even determine and evaluate the character of the people who enforce this code of conduct. You know what I mean? And there also needs to be a system that holds these people accountable for their actions. So we need a system of enforcement. So that means, well, who's going to police us? How are they going to police? What are the schedules going to be like? Are they going to patrol on foot or on vehicle? Will there be cameras, you know, in different neighborhoods? What type of communications will be established between the people and the police? How will we be able to contact these enforcers? And then we need to come up with some sort of tribunal, some sort of court of justice or committee that will issue penalties for violating our agreed upon conduct. So who will this committee consist of? So there's a lot of things that we need to discuss before we just say the hell with the police. Hell, I want to get the police out of our communities too. Hell, I want to do away with the biased judicial system too. But what system can we develop to replace these systems? A lot of people get mad. Oh man, the system, you know, she got beat up. Man, she called the police. They came in there, boom, they arrested the brother, or they killed the brother. She shouldn't have called the police. Well, who the hell can she call? Who should she have called?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you get what I'm saying, Sister Riziki? Like, who should she have called? We don't want to call the police, but then who do we call to deal with people who violate us?
Right.
So does anyone want to add? I know I kind of went off. Does anyone want to?
Well, my thing is, if we're trying to do something, of course, we have to stay within the parameters of the law, period, because we live in this country. There's laws that we have to abide by. But one of the ways that we can start developing our own policing and just having control of our communities is you commandeer the community. It is a legal way that you can actually go door to door and get those articles of incorporation and incorporate your community, and you letting the government pay to get your community back on track with your own people, because you can commandeer cities, and that way, if you're going door to door, you're getting everybody that's saying, okay, we agree that we want to, you know, basically take over this corporation, because every city is a corporation, whether you want to believe that or not. If you look up every city, they got articles of incorporation filed. So you need to start treating it as a business, because that's what it is. And once you go around door to door, get everybody who want, you have to have a certain percentage of the people that live in that area, that radius. You submit those in. You submit a whole nother article of incorporation, get that company, and once you become that, once you get that city under your paperwork, so to speak, then guess what? You open the door up for grants, for contracts. You control that. You have complete control over your police department, your fire department, your hospitals. But are we organized enough to do that? That goes back to what Dr. Mayat was saying. Are we organized enough to do that? We don't have to even develop a new blueprint. It's already there. All you're doing is commandeering. That's it.
And to piggyback off of that, there's the neighborhood of Brookhaven here in Atlanta. That's what they did. It's a I think a 9 to 13 block radius, but that's how it's very small. And then also the Lake Claire Community Land Trust. You know, when the city was trying to build something through the neighborhood got together and put it in a trust. And I mean, so it.
But see. Yeah, Riziki, we treat things all emotional. We always emotional.
Business.
It's a business, people. Your name, your person. I'm a business. Riziki is a business. You were a business when you were born. You became a corporate entity.
Yeah,
and a corporate entity.
And people knock, you know, the Moors and stuff like that. But I'll say this. Through them, I was taught that knowledge. I didn't know my birth certificate, and I didn't know that there was a difference between operating in public and operating in private. I didn't know these things. I didn't know that I can set my house up to where the police department, you don't have a right to step foot on here because this is outside of your jurisdiction. Like when we realize that, you know, we're operating within these constraints of imaginary lines and titles and stuff like that, you know, so.
But we are not organized enough. And I hate to say this, but it's so true. And I deal with this every day when people are asking me, oh, I want to start a business. You're telling me I want to have my own business. But as soon as we give you the list of paperwork that you got to do, I don't hear back from you for 2 years. Really? It take you 2 years to put together maybe 10 sheets of paperwork? It take you 2 years. So we just do not have the wherewithal and the get up and go at this point to commandeer a little city block, let alone a city. And it can be done, but we're not doing it. So we holler about, we want the police out. The fire people aren't coming quick enough. We call it every hospital in our community the death center.
Yes.
But you keep going there. You keep repeating the cycle. When does it stop? When do you say, I'm going to put my foot down, get some of these people that went for these degrees, that got your law degree, that have your civil service degrees and all of this stuff, get these people together to start commandeering these cities, city by city, and get control of your whole community. Because that's the only way you're going to start flourishing. Now, just to give you a little FYI, when we do start commandeering the cities and the communities, guess what's going to happen? They're going to change the damn law again. But you need to be in a position where you got somebody right on deck to say, oh, okay, you changed this law. Now we need to upgrade what we're doing. So you're going to school for all these damn degrees that you're not getting paid for once you come out, but you're not even doing nothing to strengthen the community. All you got to do is file paperwork. If you have a law degree, you should know how to file paperwork at the courthouse. Like, stop it. I'm just tired of all of the, we can't do it. They're killing us. They're killing my kids. Well, you are allowing it. At some point, it's your fault. at some point because you have the tools to make a change. Am I really going to complain about the pasta if I keep showing my big ass up at Olive Garden every month, every week? And I'm complaining how pasta killing me, but I'm at Olive Garden. Okay, really? Am I really trying to make a change? Or am I just trying to get out here and style and profile because it's the thing of the day? You know, come on. It's time to quit complaining. It's time to get our thinkers together and commandeer these damn cities.
That's right.
It's almost like I don't even want to hear about it no more because you're not doing nothing but going to church. You're crying on the altar. Preachers are sending out damn letters saying that you owe now. When do a preacher send out bills for tithing? I'm like, stop it. Y'all doing too much. So they sending out bills for tithing, but you can't even commandeer your city that your damn church is taking up about 12 city blocks. Stop it, Creflo. Stop it, y'all.
Right.
Come on now. Your church is a damn city, and you have no control over your city. That's what get me upset about these Christian folks. You take some crazy butt into a church, which is basically a city, and you're not doing nothing. You're giving all your money to the pastor. You're doing all of this stuff, and then you coming out crying that your kid that got shot. Stop it. I'm done. I'm just frustrated.
I know, sis, and that's what this platform. That's what this platform is for, sis. You know what I mean? So we come together, we build, we cry, we shout, you know what I mean? So look, this is what I wanted to say to you though. I feel your frustration, sis, and you're right. Just last night they had a candlelight visual here in Baltimore for a 13-year-old girl that was murdered by a stray bullet. Some folks were you had a group of guys that were beefing with some other guys, and you know, one group shot up another group a few days ago, and then the other group decided to retaliate against that group, and she just so happened to be outside. Now I'm giving you a timestamp, you know, for a reason. This 13-year-old girl was outside about 12 o'clock, you know, in the morning. Now I'm not saying that because she was outside at 12 o'clock in the morning that she deserved a stray bullet. You know what I mean? But we gotta make some changes within our homes. You know, a lot of us want to change the community, but we got to start working within our own families first. You get what I'm saying? Making sure you know what your children are doing and where they are. You get what I'm saying? So we need to get a hold of our families first. I mean, a lot of people want to jump out here. We want to save the community, and that's all well and good. I do a lot of community work. My family's involved in a lot of community work. But you know where it started? It started in the upbringing. It started in the household. It started with laying the foundation for morals and for moral values and principles within the household. And then we started going out into the community and doing the work. But I work right here with my sons, just like my mother worked with me, you know, so we got to start, you know, changing our families. And as we change our families, we'll be reshaping our communities, because a community is nothing but a network of families who dwell within the same proximity. That's what a community is. Calm with unity. So a network of families that are united, that is a community. So we want to start shaping the community, then we got to make sure that we start within our families first, you know, as far as that, and then, you know, go out here into our community and try to control the economics, the politics, the social forces, and etc. Anything else, Sister Raziki?
No, that was just, oh, you know what? Okay. Well, we just had, like I said, a really serious, deep conversation. Like we were even dealing with scenarios. Like, how would we handle, you know, the thieves or the murderers or the rapists? Like, you know how in Saudi, if you steal, your hand getting chopped off. If you kill, you're beheaded. If you rape, you getting castrated. And then it was also considering, like, you know, the prison system, they'll take, you know, the criminals of society, but they'll still use them for their good labor. And it's this dynamic of polarity, because it's like, yeah, you want to rid people, you know, if they're bad, but if you also know that you need to build a civilization, why would you not use them still? You know, and some people were just like, no, like, we just want to get rid of them totally. and other people were just like, no, you know, maybe, you know, I mean, that the prison industrial complex, that's how they benefited. So if we had our own societies and we know stuff, you know, we're in the building stages, can we really afford, if we're like in this quote unquote state of emergency, to throw away labor or talent like that? Like, will we still be able to utilize that in a controlled environment? Does that make sense?
Makes total sense. Sis.
Yeah, like what do you do? Like, do you also throw the baby out with the bathwater? Because and I know this is going to piss some people off, but technically speaking, a lot of like psychopaths or like people who committed bad things, they're smart as heck. Like, they've been, you know, great. Well, they've been philosophers, or some have been like in the engineering field or technology or whatever. So if one commits a crime that's terrible, do we like kill them, or do we still like, we utilize their talent, but you still like in our prison? Like, what would we do?
I don't know, sis. Like, you know,
if you ruled a community.
I mean, if it was your queen. I'm telling you, if I was the queen, man, it'd be a lot of dead mother. No. Hey, look, I gotta be real, man. If you rape, I'm castrating. If I'm the queen, if you rape, or you know, if you rape a woman or molest a child, you know what I mean, your genitals gotta go. I mean, that's the type of community that I wouldn't mind existing in. You get what I'm saying? Now,
if the pedophile, now let's just say if this dude, and now, because this is a real scenario.
All right, give it to me.
If the person is like a good herbalist or doctor, or he contributed a lot to your community, do you castrate him and still make him work, or castrate him and just put him in jail? You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Like, how would you?
I mean, I would put him out. We would have a public castration. It would be a public castration. I mean, it works. I'm telling you, man. When I'm with that old school. If you steal, cut your hand off. I'm sorry, you wouldn't steal again. You know what I mean? Cut your hand off. You know, you rape, cut your penis off. I mean, we would have a lot of less people stealing and raping if we implemented penalties as harsh as those. You know what I mean? So I hear what you're saying, though. Like, do we castrate them and then put them to work? Hey, sure. But you know, you won't be able to rape another person or molest another person. Or
because I'm like, we still need stuff done. And I think we kind of in a state of emergency. I think we need all the dang help we can get. So I was just making sure I wasn't crazy in my thing. Because I'm like, yeah, I'm going to chop your penis off, but you're going to get right back in that lab and create some herbs, though.
You know, but you know, our ancestors, you know, they used to ostracize you, though. Like, you know, you were bad. You had to, like if you committed certain acts, and that would be a good study system, Raziki. Like, how did they?
That's why I asked. How do we handle these types?
How did they enforce? And
then two, were they and then two, we gotta think we're not in the same position as they were. Like, they were in more of a state of abundance back then. Right now, I still do think that abundance is there, but our mindset is in a scarcity mode. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, like, I still want to learn from them, but I also understand what worked 100% back then may not be the same right now. May not. I don't know.
I mean, we're in a different environment. You know what I mean? We're in a different environment, and we're dealing with a different culture. So, like you said, it would be nice to like examine, you know, how they enforce their codes of conduct. And, you know, and that's what Dr. Amos Wilson, you know, used to lecture about. He used to say, man, look, you know, when we study history, you know, we're not studying history to like, you know, bring it back or to like recreate it. You know, we're studying history to go back in time to figure out what worked, what didn't work, you know, and so that we can take, I guess, whatever did work, we can utilize that today. So that was an objective of studying history, to know who you are, you know, to figure out some things, and whatever can work today, then let's use it.
And then two, and then like, how do we identify, you know, because it was another thing, and I don't mean to cut you off, Sister Mo, but I just got to get this on my chest. Like, we know that there's, you know, pedophiles and stuff that exist. So like, what systems was in place to prevent the amount of these type people to manifest in our community? You know, instead of just saying, you know, they don't deserve to be rehabilitated or reformed? Were there ways to catch this early? And then we, you know, what was that procedure like? Or did we just say, oh, you may be a pedophile, nigga, I'm gonna kill you? Like, how did that work? That's my piece. Go ahead, Monica. My bad, sis.
Yeah, I would definitely mirror. You know, being that I was a part of the military for so long, and I used to watch how it's organized and why do certain things work. So, you know, we have the code of conduct, you know, the UMCJ, the Military Code of Uniform Justice, right? So that's for when you get out of line, and you know, you had your values, and each branch had its creeds, so to speak, you know, that you kind of embraced along the way you lived by. And so it was some things that you just kind of you knew if, I mean, it's almost like you have to treat people like they're robots. You have to give them the instructions on how to maneuver. Then you got to teach them how to maneuver. Then you got to rehearse it, make sure they understand and know it. And then you got to train the trainer and then train again. And then every so often you got to retrain. So I think the community deal can work, but I think, you know, instead of starting from scratch, like you said, benchmark what's happened in the past for our people, and then find out what other organizations. It has to be something on a large magnitude like the military, because they have that embedded into their systems, and see how it works. But you have to train, and then there's going to be levels of leadership, and it's going to be of authority. And so the people in charge has to understand diversity, personality traits, conduct, and then dealing with, you know, you got to have your counsel, because you got to bring people before people, because you're always going to have these different things going on. And so the level of leadership that you bring forward has to have the training mindset. You got to be able to train. I'm just a firm believer of train the trainer. I'm a firm believer of refreshing training over and over until it's a part of you. And so you walk around as if, you know, you are it's almost like you walk around like a robot. And because I was a part of the organization, it's just kind of like, no matter what I do now, I even go back to some of the military stuff and say, you know what, I can take this particular structure and then make it into what I need to do now. So case in point, I was managing music artists. And so they were guys, but I started with them at 19, and then they started to grow, right? And then they became 21, and then they were 23, and then they started to do things a little different. I'm like, wait a minute, I can't, you know, I wasn't ready for that. So I went back to Dr. Maya. This is really crazy. I pulled the developmental counseling form, and then I took the NCOER evaluation form, and I pulled the evaluation blocks, put it into the developmental counseling, and created one for a music artist.
Wow.
So and so I would actually, I know Lester's looking at me like, what? I actually would sit, so before we started a year, I would sit there and I would counsel them on everything that I thought that they should be as a music artist. And then, you know, we had that next block, the what are their plans of actions? So I would have them write out their plans of actions according to every bullet point that I would evaluate them on. And then together, collectively, we would decide which of these that we can actually accomplish together, which ones they would have to accomplish as an individual. And then along the way, I took them to, and I'm saying this for community development because it was creating a culture amongst us as far as training people and getting them to work on one accord. So I took them to, at the time, it was the Gospel Music Association down in Nashville, Tennessee, and they had a training, 5-day training. So I went back and said, okay, I need to develop some training. So I went back and I took my friend Chanisa and Katasha and I said, okay, what are your strengths and your weaknesses? Who's covering ethics? Who's covering stage presence? Who's covering live performance? Who's covering, you know, how to dress? I mean, just all of that. And we went back and we created curriculums. We created the artist developed curriculum for them. And we trained every Saturday. I was so militant, y'all. We trained every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. to 12. They used to hate me. Then I realized we had to get into security because we went to the Dove Awards and the guys just left us. And so we walking down the streets of Atlanta. And so my friend at the time, he said, hold up. who's protecting the women, right? And they was way ahead of us. And he was like, listen, stop. He gave us a whole security lesson. He's probably military too. Gave us a whole security lesson on being mindful of your environment. He pointed out different things that was around us that it just went over all of our head, whatnot. And from that day, guess what next class was about? Security. So we had to put together, I mean, we trained so hard, it was crazy. They loved and they hated me. And so whenever time I see somebody talk about community and bringing people together, I'm like, do you know you got to put some training for it? You never assume that people know and understand how to maneuver in this world. You literally have to assign different pockets of people, security, personnel, financing, IT, all these different things, and you have to bring it together. And then now you got to say, okay, now how are we going to train? And then we got to constantly train because you got generations that come behind you. So you have to train the trainers on all the different levels, and you have to have people that's willing to train. Now, from the military perspective, people get paid, so it's easy to train them because they're making money. Nobody's mad. Nobody's upset. Their home, food, clothing, their shelters provided. They're not concerned. But now we're talking about a society where we have to develop an economic system where we can take care of people. I think that's where Garfield is headed with his 100 men and women, with the whole being able to cover the economic piece to come up with the rest of the information and identify the Mayat book and the educational piece and all of that stuff. So that was my spiel on it, just being able to train. If we can train constantly and refresh on what's necessary, what needs to be done, and rehabilitate. We can't forget the counseling and behavior modification piece. Absolutely. Being able to speak mentally and keep them lifted up to know that, hey, okay, you made a mistake, but can you rehabilitate? And if you do, how can we use this as a model to teach people that you can fall into these mental spasms, or so to speak, and create acts that are unbecoming? But then here's how you got to keep yourself safeguard. We call safeguarding yourself from going back there to being stronger and more productive. And I think that's where my brother Lester, who has the path to redemption in his path and what he's been through on how to safeguard yourself from going back where you came from or making those type of mistakes. And so we have a lot that we can bring. We bring the professionals, the engineers, Dr. Mayad, the Dr. Asante with the health, all of those people who have all that knowledge. And then you got to train the usses who have to train them. Because you have to oversee and observe and be able to say, okay, at the top, okay, here's what's going on. Let's have a meeting as a mind. Okay, let's push this information out. Okay, here's my next level of people that's in charge that say, hey, okay, now you need to train them, because we constantly have to oversee. The overseers can't be the people on the ground training all the time, but they need to show up every now and again, keep order in place. And I think when people learn that hierarchies are not just to control you, but we need those levels. We have to have them. Otherwise, you'll get burnt out. I can't expect Dr. Maya to keep coming down and train the babies, because I have the male tracks. I need to introduce her, and then I need to make sure that male tracks is maintained. And then I need to make sure Kimmy is pushing it out in the college level, and Sanaya is pushing it out at the middle school level. You see what I'm saying? So she comes in refreshed, and then we constantly help to maintain. That's all I want to say.
Absolutely. 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 This was a dynamite build, by the way, ladies. I really appreciate, the build. I know that we're winding down. It's 2:16. We said we were going to keep it at like an hour, but sometimes we get caught up in, in our conversations, and the build is so good that it goes beyond an hour. I want to thank everybody who tuned in to Tea Talk with the Sisterhood, or to tune into this Sisterhood think tank today. We'll meet again next Wednesday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Sister Raziki, please shout out the chat room. I saw a lot of brothers and sisters engaged in dialogue. I saw Sister Larsa Dursey. That's a sister that joined us on the panel a while ago. Sister, we miss you, and we want you to come back. I know that you're working and you're grinding it out, but on one of your days off, please come back and bless us with your presence. I saw another brother in there, Brother Calvin Dougie. I think it's Calvin Dougie. Medugal. Brother Calvin Medugal. And Brother Calvin Medugal, I did receive your email, brother, and I will be responding to that, sometime this week. Go ahead, shout out the chat room, Sister Raziki.
Okay, so we have Khalila Hassan, again, Lessa Darcy, Jehudi Ma'at, Chanessa Brown. We got Christina's Life in the building. Grades for Cuts. It starts with me. Be more. I thought I saw Doug. Okay, there you go. Doug. Of course, we got Sean P. We have I See You Are Full of Bees. Whoever that is. Mac Tip.
Hold on, what did he say? What happened?
Name is I See You Are Full of BS. That's the name. Yeah. I thought, okay, Henchman. And then I thought I saw Dagger Squad in here earlier. That must have been Garfield. And then, yeah, I think that's, Oronde Branch. Brother, that's a new name. So peace. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thanks for watching, family. And we will see you next Wednesday on Tea Talk with the Sisterhood. Any last words, sister, for the people? Nothing? Sister Mo, Sister Cheryl? Anything? All right, well, I'm going to say something, goddamn it. Nobody want to say something. Shoot, I'm going to say something. Everybody like, oh, I don't want to say anything. I want to say something. I'm asking people to support the Meltrek Project. Visit edanimeproductions.com. Purchase your copies of the Meltrek DVDs. This is a movement going on, family. Right now, we're trying to take control of the images that our children see. So help us. I tell a lot of people that children mimic what they see. So we want them to be great, then we have to give them something great to see. You know what I mean? We got to give them something great. We got to give them great images of themselves. So please support the Meltrek Project. Meltrek is an animated hip hop series that explores African American history, or African history from an African perspective. In Meltrek episode 1, Exploring Ancient Africa, we take the children back in time to learn that the history of people of African descent does not begin with slavery, but that it begins with humanity and civilization. So they go back in time, they learn about all the great, well, some of the great kingdoms of Africa. So they learn about Kemet, they learn about Nubia, they learn about Ethiopia, they learn about Ghana, Mali, Songhai, they learn about Congo, Zimbabwe, Zulu. So they learn about all these great civilizations. They learn that Black men and women were kings and queens, and were world contributors, that we contributed to sciences, math, science, architecture, philosophy. So the children go back in time, they learn, about that, about the ancestors. In Meltrek episode 2, Exploring the Pre-Columbian Americas, they learned that there was an African presence in the Americas prior to Christopher Columbus. Now, we're not saying that we are the Native Americans. I need to add that caveat. In Meltrek episode 2, we're not claiming to be the Native Americans. We're claiming that there was an African presence in the Americas prior to Christopher Columbus and prior to the transatlantic slave trade. In Meltrek episode 2, children also learn about the Aboriginal cultures of North and South America and Mesoamerica. So please visit Ed Anime Productions and support this wonderful project. Not only do we have films, we have coloring books and audio storybooks available for children. We also have backpacks and t-shirts and posters and things of that nature. So please come and support Ed Anime Productions, because to be quite frankly, sisters, I'm so tired of Nickelodeon and Disney and all of these other cartoon, these companies that create these cartoons, because a lot of the cartoons are very perverse. I've actually sat and watched some of them, and I was appalled at the subliminal messages that were contained in a lot of these animations. We running out, taking our children to go see Despicable Me Part 3. When I looked at the trailer of that cartoon, I mean, you got butt jokes in the damn trailer, people bending over, you got the guy dressed like a woman. And then you wonder why. You say, oh, the youth are out of control. The young people mimic what they see. So you as a parent, you taking your child to go see Despicable Me Part 1, 2, and 3. You taking your child to go see whatever corrupt, there were a few other cartoons that I saw. SpongeBob. You exposing them to SpongeBob, Frozen, all of this other foolery.
There's a cartoon, Uncle Granddad. I was just like, just the title. I'm like, what kind of backwood, incestuous West Virginian stuff is this?
Uncle, granddad. And
Uncle,
somebody watching probably took their child to go see it. Uncle, granddad. I'm telling you, we got to get better. We got to do better as parents, Sister Riziki. I mean, we do, with controlling the images that we expose our children to. My son Jalen, he's 7 years old. He doesn't watch any of that. In fact, I can go in the back right now and show you what's on his bookshelf and what's programmed on his television. We don't expose him to that stuff. And so we got to do better as parents with the images, with controlling the images that we expose our children to. You know, there is Disney has a cartoon. I forgot the name of it, but they show like men and men kissing, women and women kissing, men and women kissing. I mean, all of this is on the Disney Channel now. So if you support this crap, I mean, and then you hear parents say, "Oh my goodness, I'm so tired of the images that are being shown to our children." Well, if that's the case, Sister Riziki, Meltrek should be flying off the shelf right now. If you are really tired of subjecting your children to sick images, then you should be on edanimeproductions.com purchasing Meltrek. If not, continue to take your children to go see Despicable Me and all of that other filth, and you're going to continue to see our children act that filth out in living color. All right.
There's other media out there too, you know, because I know you can only, Meltrek is dope, but you know, after the 1,000th time, you may want, you know what I mean? So, but
yeah. I mean, you got Kid Positive, Tell Me Who I Am. I love that. Kid Positive, Tell Me Who I Am. You got Kivaku the Sorcerer, and then you got a plethora of books that are being created by our people. You got Brother Benjamin Njai and Sister Naomi. They produced a book called Little Aaron Learns About Africa. Then you got Sister Akua Agassi. She has books about Marcus Garvey, Queen Nzanga, Madam C.J. Walker. Then you got there's a Black owned and operated bookstore right down in Atlanta. It's called the Listening Tree Bookstore. If you go to their website, my God, they have nothing but media. They have a plethora of media available for Black children. That is their focus, Black children. And you can go to them, the listeningtreebookstore.com. It's owned by two people I know, Omar Finley and his wife. I think her name is Sherry Finley. But they developed, they opened a bookstore that focused solely on exposing Black children to positive imagery. And so we got to support that stuff in lieu of supporting Disney, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, Sprout, and all this other madness. So that's all I had to say, brothers and sisters. I mean, you got something to say, sisters?
Now we get hey, listen, tonight, of course, we got the Urban Economic Empowerment Show at 6 p.m. Black News 102.
What time is that?
We got a little commercial. You heard our commercial, Dr. Maya?
No, play it.
Let me play the little commercial.
Play it before we get off. And I'm glad that somebody in the chat room, Brother Mac Tip, mentioned Bino and Fino. Great products.
Yep.
Great products. And we need to start exposing our children. Oh my goodness. Someone said my son told me one of the minions had on ladies' undergarments. She said I didn't even catch it. That's the type of stuff that I'm talking about.
They sure did, because I was feeling guilty because I know I watched Despicable Me. But I'm learning and I'm noticing like a lot of animated movies, they're putting in like these effeminate male characters now, like to make sure the homosexual community got their representation. But yeah.
Can you see my screen? Uh-oh. Hold up. Let me go back. Can you see the screen now?
Are you ready to be financially stable? Are you ready to have that perfect credit score? Are you ready to start your dream business? If you answered yes to any of the questions, then you're ready for the Dagger Squad. Dagger Squad Inc. provides professional services including credit repair. Dagger Squad Inc. specializes in the removal of negatives in the form of late payments, collection accounts, student loans, bankruptcy, judgments, and much more, holding the unofficial record of 26 deletions off of one report. After cleaning up your credit score, you might be interested in boosting it. Dagger Squad can help with the purchase of trade lines. Also referred to as authorized users, trade lines are aged lines of credit used to boost credit scores by piggybacking off of the account in good standing. We've sold lines from Citibank, Chase, and Capital One, just to name a few. We also have the Z Black Card, the top prepaid rewards card that pays you for referring friends and family. Unlike other prepaid cards, the Z Black Card isn't loaded with fees. Why should you have to pay to add or remove your money? Here at the Dagger Squad, we believe in no monthly fees, no load or withdrawal fees, no transfer or balance inquiry fees, and the list goes on. You may also be interested in our student loan debt removal service. If you're tired of paying loans with extremely high interest rates, for $1,500, you can eliminate it forever. That's right, forever. Using accounting principles along with the consumer protection laws, we can put an end to your student loan. With our help, you can even become an official government contractor, purchase products for the government, price the product with a 20% margin included, locate a supplier for a specific product, then track supplier shipment. Dagger Squad Inc. guarantees 100% success as clients are assisted by top business professionals such as Brother Garfield Reed, Sister Monica Lamb, and Sister Cheryl Stevenson. Our goal is to financially empower members of our community so we can all see a better tomorrow. If you or someone you know needs to put a dagger through their finances, give us a call at 1-800-518-2817, extension 901. That's 1-800-518-2817, extension 901. Or check out our website at www.daggersquadinc.com. That's www.daggersquadinc.com.
Hey, Sister Monique, I gotta be honest. I did. But I did want you to play it though. I'm sorry, sis. I did want you to play it. So forgive me. I told a little tattletale. That's all.
Yeah, that is an info commercial. That lasts about 30 minutes.
You know what?
That's dope though.
Yeah, that was dope. And I just, I want to say this. Another sister, there's a sister in the chat room. She asked, and I want to make sure her name is, I think it's Blue Jazz Holiday. And she said that we need to do a show on correct parenting, how to parent, accordingly. And I think that's, we were, and it's crazy how the ancestors work. I was just having a conversation with a brother on Saturday saying that we need to put a presentation together teaching parents how to parent.
Can I
yes.
Totally.
Yes.
And next show, there's this video going around of the daughter saying to her mom, yeah, well, don't talk about me. I don't talk about you to other people, so don't talk about me with him. Like, the daughter felt disrespected. And then when I was looking at the comments, it's evident, like some parents really do feel like since they're the parent that they're entitled to embarrass or disrespect their child. And then when the child stand up for themselves, you know what I'm saying? It's a problem. It's disrespect. And I'm like, so you're not realizing you're subconsciously like teaching your child don't stand up for themselves just because of a quote unquote authority figure. You see what I'm saying? Like, sometimes parents need to be checked too, because
absolutely. The reality is this. Just because you impregnated a woman or because you gave birth to a child doesn't necessarily mean that you know how to parent. You get what I'm saying? There are a lot of people out here who don't know how to parent, who don't even know, if you ask them, what is your job as a parent or what is your role as a parent? They think that their role is to simply, and when I say simply, I'm not trying to minimize this, but to simply provide this human being with food, clothing, and shelter. And parenting is deeper than that. I can do that with a damn cow. a cat or a dog. You know what I mean? I can give a dog food, clothing, and shelter. So being a parent is more than providing a child with food, clothing, and shelter, and then sending them into the miseducation system. Yes, I called it the miseducation system. So being a parent is more than that. And I definitely think that there needs to be a show on that. I was talking about it on Saturday with one of the brothers, and Sister Sister Blue Holiday Jazz, thank you for bringing that to the forefront of my mind. I also believe that there needs to be a class on what should on the prenatal period, because we have to understand that the prenatal period is the foundation of the human being. I tell a lot of brothers on Facebook, I say, look, man, a lot of y'all are complaining, oh, my baby mama this, or my girl this, whatever. And I say, you went out here and you planted good seeds in rotten soil. You get what I'm saying? And then you wonder why your children turn out to be a certain way. So we got to understand, first of all, there needs to be a class on male-female relationships. I'm saying even before we even produce these babies, there needs to be a class on male-female relationships. What is proper relationship conduct? So let's talk about that. Male-female relationships. Then once we get that down pat, then let's move into, conceiving. Let's move into, who do you mate with and why? The art of mating. Let's call it that. So we go from male-female relationships to the art of mating. Who should I mate with? A lot of us sit down and we have sex, we have these babies, and we don't even realize that, I'm coming together with this dude, or I'm coming together with this girl, and you're sharing genes, you're mixing genes. Well, wait a minute. What kind of genes are you working with? What diseases, what ones in your family? We got to have these types of conversations before we even lay down and get busy. What type of values does this woman have? What type of values does this man have? What is your family background? What is your psychology? I always tell brothers that, that hit me up and they say, Doc, I'm going through this. I say, well, man, did you explore her mind before you explored her vagina? Like, come on, we got to, so anyway, I know I'm going on a tangent right now, but we need to have some classes on parenting, classes on, the prenatal period, what the do's and the don'ts while you're pregnant, classes on male-female relationships, and all of this really, Sister Riziki, should be a part of the educational process, but it's not. And it should be. And that's why I say that our children are being miseducated. They come out of school and they don't have good character. They come out of school and don't know how to be men. They come out of school and don't know how to be women. They come out of school and their skills and talents and abilities haven't been nurtured. So when you ask them, well, what do you want to do? They tell you they don't know. And so, these are the types of people that this miseducational process, is producing. So, we as a community, we just got to get back, to educating our children and reprogramming our children. So, sis, that was a wonderful suggestion for a show. Also, we need to get more people, Sister Riziki, to join the show, to join the discussions. It's funny to me that when I look on YouTube and I see like the little indicator that says live, it'll be a show so-and-so versus so-and-so. So they have 125 people watching. And that just tells me how traumatized we really are. That so when we'll click on the link to watch two people, battle it out on information, or we'll click on a link if we see a fight, or we'll click on a link to watch, some degenerate behavior, right? And I'm not saying that when we watch these, debates on, Black News 102, I'm not saying that they're degenerate. That's not what I'm saying. But I just want to show you how traumatized we are, in that we'll tune in, we'll plug into that type of stuff. But when you put up a video that says, hey, police corruption is out of control, what should we do? You get 20 views. Do you get what I'm saying? If you put up a show saying, yo, how do we correctly parent? You get 20 views. If you put up a show saying, how do we unify, or how do we take back our community? You get 20 views. But when you put up a show saying so-and-so versus so-and-so, or, the Hebrews versus so-and-so, debating and all, when you put that up, people are clicking on the links. So we got to do better.
This mindset that I was taught that we're used to. We want, instead of watching something a game, we want to watch something and see somebody lose. You see what I mean? Like you want to watch something that really doesn't help you expand, but instead of, it'll put you in this other mindset. It's a scarcity mindset. Like you're more excited about watching something that's not going to really help you expand in no kind of way, or get your freedom. I mean, people just used to scarcity.
Absolutely. And it's just like,
yeah,
I mean, it's ridiculous. I'm like, each week after week, and I try not to get discouraged, Sister Riziki, but I'm like, week after week, we might get about 20, 30 people. And I'm grateful. I'm appreciative of those people who tune in. And then I'll look back at the shows and you know, we're barely getting 150 views or 200 views. But then I look at the foolery. And you know, you look at these videos and I'm like, damn, how did this dude get 25,000 views? Or how did this chick that's talking about, you know, nothing, she got 100,000 views? You know, and here it is.
I bet if I said, let me do a live lingam massage, we have like thousands of people. Like, man, come on, man. We gotta do better, but
I'm telling you.
Programming. I don't know.
So anyway, thank you, brothers and sisters, for tuning in to Tea Talk. And I'm telling you, we're thinking about changing the name, man, because this is really like a think tank versus oh man, Sister Monica. So this is Sister Monica. I don't know who that is in the background.
Violate, man. She be like, oh, I got you.
I had to just mute her. But anyway, I do thank you guys for tuning in week after week. You know, next week we'll probably be back with something powerful. Any last words, sisters, for the panel?
Peace and love, sis, and I'll see you next weekend.
All right, peace and love. Peace and love. Deuce.